Hey guys, Football Premi podcast in the weekly FPL session. We have Abhishek and Sreejit joining us for this week for our usual look ahead of game week for game week 10. Before we begin, a moment of silence for one of the greats of football who has left us, the hand of God that has officially been gifted back to the God earlier this day. Moment of silence for Diego Maradona from Football Premi podcast. Salute. Okay, guys. Before we begin, how was your last game week been? For me personally, a disastrous game week. I slipped from six-digit overall global rank to more than 1.9 million. Although I mean, few and far on a season ranks and points, but still, how was your last game week been?
It was average for me because I made the changes much before the international break, much against what I advised over here. But I just wanted to. I was trigger happy, I just went ahead and made those changes, which at that time were very good changes. But in light of Salah getting COVID, that kind of backfired for me. I think the average for the game week was 55. I scored 54, which is not too bad. I did slip about 60K. From below the, I was in.
Not bad. How about you, Abhishek?
I think for me, it was actually unexpected lines. I did not think this was going to be a very high scoring game week for me, especially because I think we had a few key injuries to some of the folks. So it is just a transition phase, but I do have a definite plan. I exactly know what I want to reach in the next 2 weeks or so, and how to approach the Christmas schedule. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, sounds so typical of the Abhishek Harikumar that we know. Anyway, let's jump right in. So there are I think 2-3 hot topics that's there on everyone's mind. We'll start with the obvious one. So Mo Salah's back, based on what we saw on the midweek UCL fixtures. Atlanta and Salah he started up front. So for folks who have maybe dropped him in last game week, maybe brought Jota in for like a temporary replacement. So how do you guys, or what do you guys suggest they do? Do they bring back Salah in right away? Do they have alternate options that can keep giving them the same amount of points maybe?
Abhishek, you want to go first?
Sure. So for me, Salah, there's no right way of doing it. You can actually look at a short-term game and then maybe take Diego Jota in, especially when Salah may not be match fit for this particular weekend. My suggestion would be, the way I play it is, I always pick a player in the same price bracket. So if I'm trying to replace Salah, I either go with somebody like Harry Kane or Jamie Vardy, or maybe a sideways movement in the same position like the reason is at some point of time, if Salah fires and I want to take him back in, it is quite ezy for me to do the switch.
Yeah, it's just a straight swap.
Correct. So that is how I plan to do it. I do not see Diego Jota at this particular moment as a good option, for the simple reason that if I downgrade Salah to Diego Jota, I'm going to be remaining with a lot of funds, and I don't know which player to invest in.
Yeah, speaking about that,
so for me is not firing in all cylinders.
You're right, but Jota's been. You never know when Jota's going to come on from the sub bench, maybe not score. So that's too risky a gamble. I agree. Going over to the Spurs boys, then in that case, Spurs, the winter fixtures are mostly on the difficult side than the mazy run that they have been enjoying in the early start of the season. They have Chelsea. They just finished City. So they have Chelsea. They have Arsenal. They have the derby coming in. Except for I think Palace, they have Leicester as well. So the Spurs
Leicester and
Liverpool. So the Spurs the next 4-5 games, except for that Crystal Palace match, I think 4 of them are tough. And knowing Mourinho, in the tougher matches, if you score a goal, he's most likely to sit back and defend that and sit on the counter. So Anganthar Gesle, do you think Son is a better option for Spurs to have in the in the short term for next, let's say 4-5 game weeks? Do you still keep Kane, knowing for the 11 million points that he's worth, he might not give you that explosive weekend? So what is your take on that?
So I had both Son and Kane pretty early in FPL. So the changes that I did earlier before the international break was to get rid of Son and bring in Bruno Fernandes. Okay, which is where I said Salah's COVID-19 kind of backfired on me, because I mean many people were not planning on bringing Bruno, and which they got in only after Salah. The problem is, I think given the fixtures, and on hindsight, I should have kept Son and got rid of Kane probably, because I think that seems to be the more logical reasoning. Also because freeing up Kane gives you more funds, right? He's at 11, so it gives you more funds. And the only reason I went with him is that I saw the number of shots on target, the number of shots in the box, and the assist potential and the penalty potential. I kind of felt Kane was outdoing Son, even though Son has more goals to show for it. And it's not that Kane's too behind in the goals department. He's I think 2 goals behind Son as such, right? So my eventual plan was to get rid of Kane and bring in Vardy for this break. But I am holding on to Kane for just one more week. And I'm going the Jimenez to Vardy route to get Vardy in. I absolutely feel Vardy is the captain for this week against Fulham. It may or may not work, but on paper, I feel he's the captain material.
Yeah, but Fulham are not known to conceding penalties, and given Vardy has been scoring majority of his goals in penalties, I think Barnes might be a better pick if you want to go on that path. But I mean, we'll get there. So, Abhishek, do you think, do you have Kane, Son? Do you keep?
I have both, and I'm planning to retain both of them for this week. And I'm going to take one more week to figure out. See, but for me, Spurs are scoring regardless of who the opponent is. And if the goals come in, it has to be either Son or Kane. So fixtures may not be kind to them, but if they're giving me points, then why not?
Okay, perfect. So that's a guess from our experts. I think it's hold on to your Spurs assets and don't go for a panic replacement. On to the next one. So the next obvious question that we have from our Football Premi panelists is Man City seem to be having a good run of fixtures, starting with the Burnley home. So for folks who might be looking at differential picks, or maybe want to cover that ground in their mini leagues, Man City ने players ले invest into the. Do you think it's a good idea? So क्या कारण करना, especially मारे से तेरा कल क्या था Australia, Pep seems to be persisting with him, and Ferran Torres has been playing up front as well, with Aguero and Jesus both back in the mix now. Aguero kind of midweek Champions League star, he came on from the bench. So do you think it's worth investing in a Man City asset going forward?
I'm going to wait for one more week to see how they play against, what's the formation against Burnley, how they play against them. Because, for a team that scored 100 plus goals, I think last 2 seasons, they have just not, set the stage on fire. They just haven't scored enough goals, right? So, and their players are all expensive, right? Sterling's 11.5, KDB's 11.6. I just don't have enough faith to bring in Jesus at this point. Aguero was injured, came in, played, again got injured. So I'm going to see how that whole thing figures out. But having said that, the next few fixtures, except the Man United one, they're all pretty easy ones for City. So I am thinking of getting in a City defense, and then that's where I am kind of thinking. And I have Roman Saiz, who's practically out of favor right now, so I can get in that defensive options. But I just don't know whether it's Cancelo or is it Diaz or is it Walker. Walker is too expensive in my opinion, but I just don't know that. So that's something that I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, Abhishek.
See, for me, if there's a locked-in option, I think it is De Bruyne. But again, I don't see a lot of goals coming in for City as well. I'm going to take the wait and watch route. And that does make sense to invest in City's defense. But I do believe there are better options available outside.
City's defense, especially
it's a wait and watch from me.
People going for Cancelo might want to take note that Mendy is back to training as well. So you never know with Pep. He might play Cancelo in suddenly starting in the Champions League and Mendy in Premier League. Invest in the return. Okay, on to the more usual topics for the game week. Let's start with who are you guys tipping for big captaincy hauls in game week 10?
I think I'm going for with Vardy. I'm hoping because on paper, fixture list on paper, I think it's Vardy.
Okay.
If not Vardy, and my vice captain would be Bruno Fernandes. If I have a last minute switch, that's where it is. But for me, just on paper, it's Vardy.
Okay. Abhishek?
I think Kane is a good option. I think he has a good record against Chelsea. I think Kane is a decent option.
Interesting. I don't think
maybe not a very favorite one, but I do believe Kane is a good option.
Yeah, even I was thinking, I don't think Kane might be the popular choice this week, given some favorable fixtures for the other. But for that very reason, maybe Kane is your big shot differential captain as well. Like,
yes.
You never know. Okay. On to the last topic for the week. How about for folks who want to gain some momentum or cover some ground in the mini leagues, some differential picks across midfield and defense? ഞാൻ ക്രിസ്വെല്ലിനെ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് വെസ്റ്റ് ഹാമിൽ but the last match what West Ham played has me thinking whether Masuaku would have been a better pick for the obvious reason that he is 0.6 million cheaper and he plays up front when West Ham decide to play that 3-man defense. On the flip side, Bellerin also seems to be a very, very good option given he's been racking up 6 bonus points in the last 3 game weeks, one of which was against Leeds too. So what do you guys think? Any differential or standout picks in your defense and midfield that can help folks cover some ground?
I don't know if
Crystal Palace have a decent fixture this week. So go ahead, Sreejit, go ahead.
No. Yeah, so I was going to say same thing. I dropped Zaha because I ran out of patience with him probably, and probably this is a good. Given my previous track record, he's a good differential right now because whoever I drop kind of
Zaha's in isolation, so I don't think he'll be.
So but I would go with Easy if he had to go in the Crystal Palace route. So I think in Zaha's absence, I think he has a good option. As he said, it's a kind fixture list. Differential, I don't know if Jota can be called a differential anymore because he's become slightly mainstream because there have been cases where Klopp started all 4. So at that 6.5 million point, there is no better midfield option who is locked in. There is Jota and Foden. So and Pep doesn't start Foden as often as Klopp starting Jota. So that's my way to, if you want to go differential.
Yeah, you were saying about Crystal Palace, Abhishek.
Crystal Palace is a decent option, I would say. Van Aanholt is back. He takes penalties. They have a good decent fixture against Newcastle. Midfield, I might think about Thomas Soucek from West Ham. So I think his stats in terms of shooting inside the box is comparable to Heung-min Son. And I think he has done decently over there. Those are a couple of options that I would think about. Up front, if you're brave enough, you can probably wait one more week and then I believe maybe only Watkins is an option that you might want to consider. Or even Antonio. I think he's very close to a comeback. He would be a good differential.
Yeah. I mean, Thomas Soucek, maybe, I mean, the reason I might not pick him is he's moved more to a central role, although he has been getting his shots of late. This time the central role on Kodal for Soucek nikal ke, so maybe he's not going to give you that more number of chances, so it all depends on his conversion rate. But I agree with the Crystal Palace point because they have some good run of fixtures. So in Zaha's absence, Milivojevic might be back on the spot kick duties. So you might want to free up as a still on the dead ball. I don't know. You never know. But yeah, Palace defense for sure. Maybe, I don't know. A left side pick might be Van Aanholt at 5.4. You might start giving you a different point. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Good luck for the coming weekend. Our viewers, good luck for the coming weekend. As usual, do show us your love. Like, share, and subscribe our content. We have our own mini league for Football Premi podcast, the description of which is given in the bio. Do join and cheers. See you on the next weekend. Bye.
Cheers. All the best.
All the best.